Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, when did I start feeling like a stranger in my own body? Maybe it's the exhaustion that follows you everywhere. When you wake up tired and you push through the day tired. No matter how much rest you get, it never seems to be enough. Or maybe it's the weight gain that just won't budge. You are eating carefully, trying to do all the right things, yet the scale keeps moving in the wrong direction. And maybe what's the most frustrating is that neither of this feels like you. And if you're watching this, you are probably wondering whether a 21-day fast could help. But before we talk about fasting, let's talk about you. You've probably tried diets, supplements, exercise programs, intermittent fasting, and yet you're still here, still tired, still searching, still hoping there's something you've missed. Because deep down, this isn't really about losing weight. It's about getting your energy back, your sleep back, your confidence back. It's about waking up in the morning and recognizing yourself again. And that matters more than most people realize. Because the symptoms themselves aren't always the biggest problem. The bigger problem is what happens when months turn into years. 6 more months of dragging yourself through the day, struggling to focus through the mental haze, feeling increasingly disconnected from the person you used to be, spending valuable time searching for answers while nothing really changes. That's why this conversation matters now, and it's also why I take it seriously. Not because I have all the answers, but because I've spent decades exploring prolonged fasting and watching what happens when people give their bodies the opportunity to rest. Hi, I'm Anne Basswood, and for the past 30 years, I've studied and practiced extended fasting, especially 21-day fasts to support my health and my well-being. I recently turned 47, and over the last 2 years, I focused on understanding perimenopause and how extended fasting affects me during this stage of life. And my goal? Well, to learn more about how fasting may help support women through this transition. I've seen women experience meaningful changes in their energy, mental clarity, sleep, and overall well-being. But I've also seen the challenges that come with the process, the doubts, the discomfort, the moments when giving up feels easier than continuing. And I've seen women discover that many of the symptoms they thought that simply had to live with could improve. And I've seen women discover that many of the symptoms they thought they simply had to live with could improve when they allowed their bodies to reset. Not because fasting is a miracle cure, but because the human body is remarkably resilient when given the right conditions. The reality is that most of you watching this aren't here because you haven't tried hard enough. You're here because you've tried everything. A new diet to follow, a supplement that claims to have the answer, plan that works for a while then fades, a promise you've heard before. And yet somehow you're right back where you started. The effort isn't the problem. The problem is that the same approach keeps producing the same result. And at some point, it becomes clear that trying harder isn't always the answer. Sometimes the answer is looking at the problem differently. And that's where the real shift begins. Menopause may not be a sign that your body is breaking down. It may be a sign that your body is responding exactly as it was designed to respond. Your body is not failing you, it's communicating with you. Think of the symptoms as signals rather than defects. The solution is not finding the right supplement, diet, or hormone hack. It's creating enough space for your body to finally do what it already knows how to do. And instead of constantly searching for something new to add, There is value in exploring what happens when you begin removing things that no longer serve you. But before making any major changes, though, clarity comes first. For the next 7 days, simply observe. Don't start a new diet. Don't buy new supplements. Don't overhaul your routine. Just pay attention. Each morning, rate your energy, your sleep, your mood, your brain fog, your hot flashes, and your cravings. Give each one a score from 1 to 10. Nothing complicated, just honest observation. At the end of those 7 days, look at the numbers and imagine they stayed exactly the same for the next 6 months. That simple exercise often exposes patterns most women never notice. You may discover that your energy crashes at the same time every afternoon, that your sleep is worse than you realized, that your brain fog isn't occasional, but it's daily, or that the symptoms you've been tolerating are quietly shaping every part of your life. Because when you stop guessing and start measuring, you replace frustration with clarity. And clarity is often the moment when real change finally becomes possible. 6 months from now, you wake up before your alarm. You slept through the night. You have energy. Your mind feels clear. You aren't thinking about symptoms every hour of every day. You trust your body again. You trust yourself again. Now, maybe the weight has changed, maybe it hasn't, but it's not the most important victory. The most important victory is freedom. Freedom from feeling trapped. Freedom from feeling like you're waiting for your life to begin again. Because this was never really about menopause, and it was never really about fasting either. It's about recognizing that your body may be far more capable of healing, adapting, and recovering than you've been led to believe. Before you go, I'd love your help. I'm doing research for future videos, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. If a 21-day fast could improve only one thing about your menopause experience, what would you choose and why? I read every comment, and your answer might shape the next video.